tying the Ausable Wulff, the first step, of course, is to put the hook in the vise and get it level so you're not winding on an incline. The second step is to wind the complete shank of the hook with thread. You start just ahead of the eye, and you wind the complete shank of the hook with thread. If you don't make a base for your material, it will turn on the hook. So you want to make sure that the hook is covered with thread to build up that base. You wind back to the bend of the hook, clip the excess thread off, and then you select either woodchuck. You can use woodchuck or you can use dark barred deer hair. Gives you the appearance of breaking up the light pattern, so you can put more of it on without the appearance of it being bulky. Tail should be approximately the distance from the bend of the hook up to the eye of the hook. If you tie the tail too short, it will cock up and the fly won't float properly. So that's about the right size, the right length for the tail. See, that tail material from here back to here is about the same as from here to here. Okay. Next step is to take a section of calf tail, white calf tail. You're going to take one clump of calf tail here, and you're going to make 2 wings out of it. You make sure it's wound in good and tight. Then you clip the excess hair in the front, like that. Then you hold the material up, and you make wraps in front of it. Now don't be afraid to make enough wraps to hold it on there good and secure. I've taken 100 fish on one fly. The fly is tied well, it should not come apart. You find Japanese flies, they usually will fall apart after a few fish. But then you split that wing and you divide it, making 2 wings. Like that, okay. Notice how you even that up and make 2 wings out of it. That's your wing for the Ausable Wulff right there. Then you bring your thread ahead of the wing, back ahead of the wing, and then you use a dubbing material, bleached out, it's actually dyed Australian possum, rusty orange color. And that's the color of the body on the Ausable Wulff. You dub your Australian possum dubbing material directly onto the thread, and you roll it down with your thumb and finger like that. And when you stop each roll, you stop in the same direction, so you're not unrolling what you put on from the time before. Put enough on to go from the tail of the fly all the way back, start back at the tail, and work back almost to the wings, leaving a little bit of space there because you want to start your hackle behind the wing, and you want to have space to put that in there. You get 1 brown hackle, and the next hackle is a grizzly hackle. When I tie in 2 hackles for a fly, and you always want to tie 2 hackles in for this fly because you want it to float well, I make 1 hackle a little bit larger than the other. So when it floats and you break the surface tension with 1 hackle, you still have the other hackle holding the fly up, which is very important. I tie that in behind the wings like that, tied in good and tight. Then I come forward and tie the rest of the butts of the hackle in ahead of the wing, in front of the wing, and bring the thread back to where you're going to finish the fly off. Next step is I take each hackle and I wind them individually. You never try to wind 2 hackles together because you're never going to get them both completely tight that way. Wind each hackle 3 or 4 wraps behind the wing, and then the rest of the wraps in front of the wing, 4 or 5 wraps in front of the wing. You notice I make quite a few wraps. And that's, you want to put as much hackle as you can on this Ausable Wulff because you want it to float. It's going to be floating in the heavy water. So you want it to float very good, and you want it to be visible. Next step is to take your second hackle, the grizzly, and you wind in 2 or 3 turns behind the wings again, and then holding the wings forward, you continue to wrap your hackle back to the bend of the hook, the eye of the hook. Tie it off. Make 8 or 9 wraps with it. Again, don't be afraid to make those wraps. People think that you're adding weight, but that extra weight, it doesn't mean anything compared to the durability of the fly. You finish it off with a couple of half hitches, and then you make what I call a whip finish, only it's done by hand instead of with a whip tool. I pick it up like that. It's wound over. The thread is wound over itself a number of times. and then pull through so that it will not come apart. That fly is very durable. There's no reason for that fly not to take 2-3 dozen fish, providing you don't lose it in a tree. After you finish, you take your fly head cement, put a dab of fly head cement on the head of the fly, keep it from coming apart. If there's a loose hair there, you clip it. You usually don't have that. But that fly should set up like that in the water. That's an Ausable Wulff tied real bushy. It will float good. It has a visibility for the trout and the visibility for the fishermen. And if you don't have that fly heavy and tied heavy enough so it floats well, it's not going to do much for you. This is considered the money fly on the Ausable River. But I send these flies all over the world, and a lot of people say it catches more fish for them than all the other flies. I found that to be true on Adirondack streams.